it's Shannon Leaf with Lovely Leaf Applique, and I'm so excited. We are going to be walking you through how to make our in the hoop stocking ornaments. And these just aren't your regular old stocking ornaments. They're actually fully lined pouches, so you can add candies, small gifts, whatever. Put them on your tree, give them out to your friends. I don't know. The possibilities are endless. You're gonna get 3 different sizes. You're gonna get a 4-inch, a 5-inch, and a 7-inch. Because we've made these fully lined pouches, there's a lot of layers. So you want to stick with your cotton fabrics. Don't use any thicker pieces of fabric. I wouldn't recommend vinyl or fleece or anything like that, because that'll just make it a little bit more difficult when turning. Anyway, I can't wait to get started. Let's begin.
Okay, all the fabric cuts are outlined in the instructions provided in your download. The first step of this design, we are stitching the outline of the stocking as well as a basting stitch that will help us line up our pieces. The first piece we're going to do is we're going to grab the bottom part of the stocking. We're going to line up the fold of that piece with the basting stitch. Now we're going to run step 2 and tack that into place. Okay, now we're going to want to grab our top part of the stocking. We're going to take the fold again and overlap that about a 1/2 inch over the bottom piece of the stocking. We're going to run the next step, which tacks that into place. Next, the machine is going to stitch the placement stitches for the toe and the heel. Now, if you don't want a toe and a heel on your stocking, this is completely optional. You just simply skip the steps for the placement, the tack down, and the satin stitch in the design. It will certainly make it a quicker stitch out, but I can't say it'd be as fun. Now I'm going to lay my applique fabric over those placement stitches. And we are going to use the next step to tack that in place. Now this is very important. When you are trimming back the applique, you only want to trim around the portion that is inside the stocking. You want to leave the outside part there for a seam allowance. If you cut this short, it may come undone in the seam when you turn your stocking out. So leave that there. You're only trimming back where the satin stitch will be. We will begin that now. I came up with this design when I was thinking about a way I could make like an advent calendar for my 3 kids. So most advent calendars I've seen are just really tiny, and I like to include all sorts of things, candy, small toys, all that sort of stuff. So I wanted something that I could either, like an ornament that I could hang on the tree or create some sort of banner or garland with, that I could, put little fun items in for them as we count down till Christmas. And that's how this design was born. Next, you're going to want to grab your 6-inch piece of fabric, your 6-inch piece of ribbon, and we're going to tack that down. Now, I made the tack down stitch all the way across this stocking. So if you want to create like a little baggy pouch or an ornament or whatever, you can place that ribbon wherever you like. I kind of want the hanging stocking effect, so I have angled that piece of ribbon from the right side of the corner. Now I'm laying that ribbon flat. You want it to lay as flat as possible. And then we're going to put our backside piece right side down over that, and we're going to stitch the next step, which will tack that in place. This is going to run all the way around the stocking. Now we're grabbing our inside panel. This is going to be what's shown on the inside of your stocking. On the right side, you're going to want to spray just the edges of that fabric. We removed the hoop and we turned it upside down, and now we're laying that piece of fabric right side down over the design. You do not want to spray the whole piece of fabric because it will make the inside of your stocking very sticky. Now we're loading it back up on the machine. You want to make sure that your fabric has not shifted. Mine did, so I'm glad I checked. And then we're running the last step of the design, which will tack that in place. This runs around the whole stocking, leaving the top with a little opening for us to turn it inside out. Okay, now we are going to remove the project from the hoop. You want to remove as much stabilizer as you possibly can all the way around. Now we're going to take pinking shears and trim around the stocking. I like to get especially close to the stitch line without cutting it in the curvy parts, because when you turn it, it'll reduce the puckering you have in those tight spots. I also cut my corners off at an angle to remove the bulk. And then we leave a little opening, a little extra fabric around the opening, because we'll need that when it comes time to closing. Now, as you can see, I'm reaching in and removing stabilizer. You just kind of want to remove as much as you can. It just will help with turning, but don't worry if you can't get it all. As you turn, you'll be able to reach more and more. And you just work it and start turning it inside out. You'll see the basting stitch there. You just trim that back to the seam. It'll be loose in there. So once you have access to that, just trim it back. And now I'm turning it again. So the first turn, we turned it kind of to the inside of the stocking. Now I'm turning it again to the outside of the stocking, and just using a pointy object to make, sharper corners and sharper seam lines. And there's the initial turn. Now we're going to flip that top part back open and expose the opening, and just tuck that fabric in there, make it look nice. Because this is on the inside, it doesn't have to be pretty, so we're just going to take some permanent fabric glue, slide it on in there, give it a little gentle squeeze, and then flip that top part back. And then once everything's in place, that glue will dry and your seam or your opening will be closed. And that's all there is to it. A fully lined stocking ornament pouch.
All right, lovely leafers, that's it for this tutorial. Please comment any questions you have down below, or if you have any cool creative ideas that you plan on using this design for, we'd love to hear about those as well. Join our Facebook group, share your photos, and we'll see you next time. Bye.